Okay, I had some questions about guard passing, specifically with one of the most difficult guards that people complain about passing for good reason is the knee shield. There's some different levels and heights of the knee shield, but all of them can be a real pain because it's a very good frame using simple skeletal structure of your femur bone between you and an opponent. And so a lot of times people are complaining about trying to pass that particular guard. There's a couple small adjustments you can make in here, especially when you're trying to talk about using your body weight, which is the most efficient way to put pressure on someone and pass while using the minimum of effort on your part. There's a couple of very small adjustments you can make that will make a tremendous difference, literally sometimes transform your whole guard passing game overnight. So let's take a look at those. First, I'm here with Steve, and actually, can I swim around here for a second? So let's say he's got a lower knee shield, and the challenge with this one here is that he has the structure of his femur actually into the structure of my hip bones, which have no flexion to them, they're always there. So he's got a very good bite on me, and it's a good way to keep distance. So a lot of times people like this, often called Z-guard. If he had his bottom foot, so instead of a half guard situation, he's got his foot connected here to my hip, I have to get rid of that. And then essentially I'm going to be moving into the Z-guard and passing through Z-guard. So the first thing here is when you're truly using weight, if you're truly doing pressure passing, that has nothing to do with how hard you're pulling or squeezing with your arms, and it has nothing to do with trying to pull in on gi grips if you're using the gi. What it has to do with is correct application of your body weight. So the rule here is knees are off the mat, you're always on the balls of your feet and your toes with your weight on your opponent, not going into the mat, and we're always trying to go into a chest-to-chest passing. One of the most common things from here is I start to do that, as I start to drop down on my partner, take my knees off the mat, Steve has the knee into my hip here, is that I'm thinking, don't try and pass the knees and then get chest-to-chest, get chest-to-chest right away. So as I come in here, assume I've been able to lose that bottom foot, but he's still got the knee shield in here on my hip. He'll be framing with his arms and all of that. But one of the things you'll notice here is that many times, because the knee is in my hip, I will actually not be chest to chest, I'll be chest to sternum. And then from here, he may be controlling my wrist, he may be framing with this top arm, doing all these things to trouble me, but really the primary thing keeping me away is this knee here. So right off the get-go, we start thinking about don't settle for chest to belly, chest to sternum. Once I come on my toes, I want you to start to think, I'm going to start to advance up the body a little bit higher. And just from here, Steve, do you feel a difference?
Yes.
Yes, right? What you'll notice is just that one maneuver is going to put a tremendous amount more pressure on your partner, and their mobility is going to be much more limited. You're going to start hearing the noises of effort on bottom because they're being a bit compressed. And it's free for you because all you're doing is being relaxed in your body, active on your toes. So first thing here is don't go chest to sternum, that's not the rule. The ideal here is get up chest to chest. My ear will be either underneath my partner's chin or more commonly in the shoulder, because the more you can create rotation of their shoulder towards the mat, the less play they'll have in their body. In this case, I'm going to be able to potentially pin their knees together with my hip while simultaneously moving their shoulder in the opposite direction. The other thing here is that by virtue of having a knee shield, he can thwart my efforts to climb up his body by moving his shoulders away. And this is one of the common complaints when people start to experiment with this style of passing, is what if they move their shoulders all the way away? Okay, so I'm getting up chest to chest, but then Steve escapes his shoulders, and now look at how much real estate he's created just with that one motion. His chest is way over there. Also at this angle, it's very hard for me, even with my hand here, even if I had a gi grip punching down his leg, to prevent his leg from coming up and coming back to my hip. This is often where I can find myself fending off attacks, being put back in closed guard, so on and so forth. So the simple cheat we'll do here, let's just move to this angle, is as his shoulders start to move away, go ahead, I'm going to actually cut my angle. So now instead of having our spines parallel, I'm going to cheat the angle to about a 45 degrees. And now you'll notice the difference between partners moving all the way away here and their chest is far away from me. And now, even on a taller partner who might have quite a few inches on you in terms of height, once I turn this corner from here, I'm just relaxing, I can start to immediately break down his structure, make sure he can't get away from me, I can maintain chest to chest, and I can start to really climb up past everything. The other thing from here, we'll notice, even if they're controlling your arm, very common, a lot of times people will settle back to their knees here, try and problem solve this grip before advancing. What I'm doing is giving him everything back in terms of his ability to move. So what I want you to be thinking about from here is you continue to advance. You just relax your body, relax your arms, but you're always active on your toes, you're always cutting your angles. So I'm not really concerned if he's holding on to this. If I stayed here, very possible that not only can he pull his bottom leg back and put it on my hip, but he might even triangle me from here, right? So, yes, go ahead. Yes. For sure that's a problem. But instead of being paranoid of that, I use exactly the same strategy. Let's just go this way. Exactly the same strategy we just talked about, cutting the angle, advancing up the body. So even if he has this arm, as I start to come up the body, you'll notice from here that his arm is actually, by focusing on my wrist, it's actually behind the action. I can actually start to advance into my pass while he's fixated on something that really isn't helping him anymore because I'm advancing up past that, not hanging back because of the grip on my wrist. And finally, another big question that comes up here is, what if they have a different type of knee shield? What if it's up inside my shoulder, what we call a high knee shield position? Well, in this case, it's probably not the case that I can move directly chest to chest before I even worry about passing the knee line, because this is in the way of me getting chest to chest. However, I still want to be putting pressure forward, I still want to cut my angle, but because he's so wide now, I'm going to change tactics. Instead of trying to pin his knees together, once I get in here, I'm going to think instead about actually driving my stomach and my chest forward and falling in between the knees from here. So we're not going to be rigid in terms of how we're interpreting this concept of weight on your opponent chest to chest. Instead, we're just going to take what's free, the proverbial water finding its way through the cracks, but we're very agnostic about which lane we take. So remembering to stay relaxed, remembering to always be moving up the body, cutting the angle with your head inside the shoulder, and then I either am looking to pin the knees together or fall in between the knees. Put that into practice, you'll notice a big difference, and even if you don't pass instantly, you will notice that you're wearing down your opponents to a much greater degree than you were before.